Hi, I'm Gerald Azu. Welcome back to KCZIN. Go to the website, kczin.com, and become a supporter of the only media outlets that's designed specifically for those of us who want to have their own independent nation. So here we are with a crisis that's taking place in Mississippi. It is an issue when it comes to the infrastructure of providing water that the community actually needs. The city, which is actually the largest city in the state of Mississippi, 180,000 people live there. Nearly 82% black. So clearly there's an issue at hand, and it's best that we get a better, clear understanding of how we got to where we are today. So briefly speaking, there's problem with water. The system that they have in place is outdated, 50 years at least, and it has never been updated since. So clearly there's a lot of issues within the actual government, from local government to state government and everything in between. There's a lot of people that have not done their jobs. So let's go back to the actual process of how the people in Jackson, Mississippi got involved in this from a political standpoint. So you got to go back to the year 1964. So there was a group of people led by a woman by the name of Fannie Lou Hamer, who basically wanted to help black people get into the political process, get involved to have the right to vote. And of course, they decided to make a decision of doing this by entering and getting membership within the Democratic Party. Here's the problem. The Democratic Party in 1964 was ran by the KKK. So here's the question you have to ask, and I've asked this question before. Why do the people who are pro-America want to continue to do business and get involved in and be controlled by the KKK? It's an ironic question, but that's the reality. They chose to go on their own and join with the Democratic Party ran by the KKK. They knew they were led by the KKK. They were born and raised in Mississippi, so they knew exactly what took place, but they wanted to be part of it. Ironic, yet that's how they think. They believe they're Americans, they have a right to this country, and they should do everything in their power to be part of this country, and they chose to go and join not the Republican Party, no. At that time, the KKK was part of the Democratic Party. Remember, the KKK was the members who actually owned slaves. The party of slavery is the Democratic Party. So it's ironic that they wanted to join, and of course, the KKK, the Democratic Party, officially rejected their membership, did not allow them to become members, so they decided to fight for their right to become members of the KKK Democratic Party. This is in 1964. And since they weren't allowed, they created their own separate organization called the Mississippi Freedom Party. Again, what was the purpose of the Mississippi Freedom Party? To get membership in the Democratic Party ran by the KKK. Quite ironic that became a movement, and people joined that movement and fought to obtain it. And of course, by 1968, the Democratic Party had made a shift, meaning its membership. Again, then President Nixon, who was a Republican, and told the Democratic Party members of the KKK, why stay in that party when you can join our party? And they did. They switched parties. So that's how they got into the democratic process. So ever since that day, our people have been voting in Mississippi Democrat. And unfortunately for them, the city of Jackson, Mississippi has gone back and forth between Democrats and Republicans way before 1964. And there has been actually no help for our people by either party. And of course, after 1968, quite frankly, almost 10 years later, 20 years later, should I say, there was a new movement that took place in the 80s. And towards the end of the 90s, in 1997, the first black mayor of Jackson, Mississippi was finally elected. 1997. So this is the mayor. And quite frankly, between 1997 and 2022, 25 years have passed. Approximately 5 black mayors consecutively since 1997 have been elected into the mayorship. And guess what? Infrastructure has not been updated by any of these black Democrats. So before we start pointing fingers as to who is responsible for this critical issue when it comes to the infrastructure of water in the city of Jackson, Mississippi, which is the capital of the state, you really have to place your responsibility on the people that have had the power and control for the past 25 years. Before that, it clearly was not black people because they had no power at that time, that whole office in the mayor's office. But after 1997, 25 years since, what have they done? Clearly, nothing. And because of that, we're in a situation where we are today. I bring all of this story up because our people have to come to a realization that this problem of being so loyal to a people that mean no good to you and a people that will not change just because you asked them to change is ridiculous. And it's cost us. It's cost us a lot. It's costing now potential to be a harm to our people in the city of Jackson, which is predominantly black, the largest city in the entire state of Mississippi. On top of that, even lives may even be peril because of this bad decision of elected officials who are black in the Democratic Party, but not just the actual elected officials, but the members, that's right, our people, the voters themselves, who continue to desire to be part of a people who don't want them, don't want anything to do with them, but yet they continue to give them the loyalty because they believe that that's the best thing to do. I bring all this to our attention to give you a comparison to the Mojave. That's correct. We talked about this in our last video. The people who believe in independence, having our own country, like myself, who refuse to accept anyone having dominion over us when we can make the decisions on our own. And this is the opportunity for those of you who live in Mississippi to get to hear the message of Mahali, who get to actually understand what we actually defend and live for, that we want our freedom based on our terms. We can free ourselves as we have done since the 1860s away from chattel slavery, and we will now free ourselves from this country and become an independent nation. That's correct, an independent nation. It may sound quite far for a lot of people. However, it is the most reasonable of all options that we have. If you put some thought behind it, you will understand how great it is and how great an opportunity it is for our people to, rather than live in servitude without chains today, you can live in freedom, absolute freedom, and control of your own destiny, not dictated or controlled by other people, but you are able to control it and you are able to dictate it regardless of what other people do or say. That's the beauty of Mahali, and our people are for it. So in Mississippi, we're going to be running for office in 2023. Many of our candidates who represent the Mahali Party, you need to support those candidates. After 25 years of Democrats representing your city, of no avail whatsoever, it's time to start joining Mahali. Go to the website, mahaliparty.org, become a member. Most importantly, remember to vote and support the candidate running for the Mahali Party. Remember, this is the movement that has never lost in what they've done. Contrary to the Democratic Party, the pro-American political party for black people has been absolute failure after failure, never won. We, the Mahali Party, can get this done and save all these problems with our own solutions and get our nation established soon.